All right. Today, I decided we go back and revisit Mr. Light Skin Historian. Never really realized how much he sounds like MF Doom when he talks. Light skinned men need to go extinct, apparently. And then we're gonna learn from this chick that looks like the dad from American Pie how to be gay. I hope that's informative for you guys. I know some of you need to know that. Some of you might be planning on becoming gay or don't know how to do it, don't know how to start. But I think she has some stuff to share. So first, let's start off with Mr. Light Skin Historian. And light-skinned men need to go extinct.
It's about, but he says y'all need to be extinct, and that's true. Well, I mean, talking about how light-skinned N-words need to be extinct. And you may think that they're playing, but they're not when they say this. They're dead serious. This is not jokes. It's always truth behind a joke. You don't tell a joke unless it has truth to it, or the joke wouldn't even make sense. All right, you're not going to joke on a skinny person if they're skinny. You're not going to tell a fat joke on a skinny person. It doesn't.
Actually, that's the funniest time to call somebody skinny or fat is when they're skinny. That's literally a whole guy on Twitter, his whole routine, and it's hilarious.
Makes sense. All right, in order for it to hit, you have to have truth to it. And people hide behind jokes to justify, to tell the truth, but they say it in a funny way so they can get away with it. That's all it is about. But he says y'all need to be extinct, and that's true. Well, I mean, not true, but that's how they feel, for real.
Extinct.
Let's see about you light-skinned dudes. But hold on. Let's look at what he said.
Sweet lover for a lifetime. Nigga, shut your bitch ass up.
Oh.
Saying it to a thought is crazy. I got a video coming on her too. This little Kaya chick. I got some videos coming about some women some stuff that women do about, you know, women who cheat and work boyfriends. I got all type of stuff coming. Work boyfriends and all type of stuff. Should you date single mothers? I got all type of stuff that's coming. But let's see what he says.
I heard you on the 2026, my nigga. We have to leave light-skinned niggas in 2025, man.
You see how these dark-skinned dudes are constantly competing with you guys? They always talking about y'all. They always got their eyes on you guys. They're obsessed with y'all. They're very insecure and very threatened by you. And I think it's time for light-skinned men to stop shying away from the competition and just address them. Just address these gnarled-faced, dark-skinned niggas. I mean, I don't know why y'all ain't doing it.
It's the same guy.
Light-skinned niggas been patched, bro. Light-skinned niggas been patched since 2016, my nigga. I hate light-skinned niggas, gang. Only y'all niggas will get on national television and start singing them bitches, gang. Who don't even know you, gang. A dark-skinned nigga would never ever do no goofy. Nigga, white niggas not even doing goofy shit like that, gang.
I was hating. I wonder if he pulled the Kaya chick too. You know, who knows? But the dude didn't even seem light skinned to me. He's the same color as the chick that was up her, and she ain't even light skinned. But
light skinned niggas need their own category, gang. Like,
oh, so he's telling the truth. He said y'all need your own category. Light skinned people need their own category. Away from black people. They're telling the truth finally. Is
that true, Slav? That light skinned N-words always been soft as fuck?
And I agree with him.
Instead of y'all being black people, y'all need...
I can't tell if this guy likes light-skinned people or hates them.
You could just be light-skinned people, gang. Like, y'all niggas, y'all fucking up the... Yo, bro, ban light-skinned niggas from the USA, gang.
Oh, did you hear that? This They said ban light skinned niggas from the USA. That's their goal. That's been their goal.
Well, I'm half on board with that. Might need to take it a step further, but that's a start.
You see how crazy this is coming full circle? That's insane, right? But hold on, I got something. Now, I don't know the context behind this video, if he was going back and forth with somebody who happened to be light skinned, but I doubt it. I think that he just automatically just have light skinned dudes on his mind because they do have an obsession with light skinned men. But look how obsessed they are. This is, as a dark skinned man, I don't want to be a pretty boy. I'm not light skinned. What the hell does that have to, you see how he always trying to associate that with, which is not even a bad thing. The black community, especially dark skinned people, since they're ugly, they've tried to reverse being good looking as a bad thing, specifically as a man. That's what they're trying to do, and try to demonize it. Like,
I haven't studied them enough. You're worried that you're light skinned? I think you're pretty white purple. I think you're pretty fucking white. You're pretty much translucent.
Like it's something bad to be attractive as a man. But let's see what he has to say.
Be honest, as a dark-skinned black man, I'm not with all that being pretty and shit. I mean, I got hair all over my face, hat on my head, right? Hair under, shaped up, but needs a little fix, right?
You know what? You know why I was watching this chick? Shout out to her. She commented on my channel before. I forgot her name, and she basically.
I wonder if this is why the Dutch had black people in zoos up until the 1950s. I don't know if you guys knew that, but they literally had black people in zoos in Europe until the 1950s. And I wonder if it was just because they just wanted to do what I do right now, and they just didn't have YouTube. There was nothing like hateful or nefarious. They just wanted to kind of study them from a distance, from a safe distance, give them what they need, give them all the resources, let them just kind of expand, and just kind of look at them. Just kind of, this is a nice distance to be, is through the internet. I feel the safest here. I can say all the things that are on my mind that won't get me ganged up on.
He was talking about why dark skinned men don't like light skinned men, and I always talked about this already. I might do a reaction to her live, but she watches video. She knows who she is. She just dropped a live reacting to that Ricardo Mexican guy, and I don't agree with everything she said, but she said everything she said in this video was facts. I said the reason why I say dark skinned men don't like light skinned men because we can do everything they do, and so they threatened by us. You know, we're just as talented, not more talented than they are. We look better than them. We're pretty much better than them in pretty much every category throughout history. We're more masculine than them, even though they try to lie and say they are, even though they're conquered, and they had to team up in order to try to get with us, but get us conquered. But she made a valid point. She said the reason why these dudes hate light-skinned dudes is because light-skinned dudes can clock their T. What the so-called black women say, clock their T. And that's facts. Does
anyone know what that means? Clock your T? This is a word or a phrase. Let me look that up. Clock they T. Clock they T. Clock the T. Well, according to Google, it says clock the T is a ballroom and queer slang term where clock means to notice. T refers to truth or gossip. Is this guy ballroom and queer? That's a new slang to me. Clock the T. All right.
Not just dark skinned men. Light skinned men can clock everybody's T. Imagine if light skinned dudes just start coming out and speaking about the experience in the black community. They're gonna try to silence it, but I guess we would clock everybody. these dark skinned dudes don't like to be clocked. That's what she was saying. She's right. And she said they don't want this truth to come out. That's why so much time spent on trying to silence light skinned men in the black community and try to shame us into submission and silence. Excuse me, but that's true. All right. And I got a video coming. I'm trying to put the dots together because I seen a video of this chick attacking light skinned dudes randomly. And she kept bringing up light skinned dudes. She dissed light skinned men. But I'm like, what? Why are you dissing light skinned men? She's talking about, I know you see black men dissing.
I'm literally at work every day working on cars, listening to podcasts that investigate the ancient religions and how, like, we're in a giant cosmic battle against Satan and trying to figure out what the right path is. And these two fucking bozos are at each other's throats because one doesn't know how to clock the T.
Guys, and this, that, and the third. But I'm like, what does this have to do with light skinned guys? Like, why are you dissing us? Like, we're not telling dark skinned women and black women that they're ugly. But I think I'm putting two and two together. I think what they want us to do is to check dark skinned women want light skinned men to check dark skinned men. I think that's what that she's trying to imply. But I'm gonna do a video on it. But yeah, they know that light skinned men, we have the opportunity to call them out on their BS, and they don't.
Okay, so light skinned men get treated like princes by their mothers. Is that because the mothers are usually white? Or what does that mean, Slav? Because I can see how, like, obviously if you're of black descent and you have a white side, that you might get a little bit of a softer hand when it comes to what is it that they hit them with, the switch or the physical abuses. That would be a good case study. What if I just go to college? My ex-wife was an anthropologist. Actually, that reminds me, she kind of did this. My ex-wife was an anthropologist, and she used to study gypsies. She took me to, when we went to Slovenia, she took me to one of the places where where her gypsy, like, studying went, like, in their little area. It was such a weird thing, and it was really fucking terrifying because we were driving through there. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever been to one of these places where it's like you drive through and you see all the animals and, like, you keep your windows closed and you just keep driving and the monkeys and the gorillas won't come inside and beat your ass. That's what it was like driving through this gypsy village. And I remember one of them coming out of his trailer, and he was not thrilled about us. He knew exactly what we were doing. We were about to come out with tranquilizer guns and capture one of them and put him in a net, because I'm pretty sure what he thought was going to go on. And my wife was like, "Oh, they know us." And I was like, "I don't think he's too happy to see us. I don't." It's like, like when sometimes you can not see a dog for years and the dog will remember you. But then maybe sometimes an animal isn't quite sure. And maybe he just needs to get close enough to sniff you. And I feel like maybe we just didn't give them the opportunity to use their gypsy noses to go and sniff us out and know that we were good. But we hightailed it out of there. She told me they're pretty fucking crazy and they will harvest your organs, some of them, not these ones. There is a lot of sexual assault. They have a law there in Slovenia where it's more cost effective for the government to let the gypsies steal like 35 euros worth of copper a day rather than just arrest them. What if we took that approach here with fucking a certain ethnic group? Oh, God. We have fun here. Yep.
You're the guy from the hamburger train, right?
I like that. On the BS and the fuckery that they do.
I'm 28 years old. I'm not trying to be a pretty boy to impress women all day. Only thing I need to do, hit the gym, make sure I'm doing what I do in my life. That's it. I have nothing to prove to girls or females or anybody.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but that would be an excellent fucking, like, get a deal with, like, some hood rats in, like, Knoxville, Tennessee. Isn't that where where it's pretty bad? And, like, take white people on a safari and just kind of pay off the thugs there, and you can kind of just study them as they're sitting on their stoops, and, like, maybe, like, they can, like, have a pretend gun battle in front of you, and you stop the car. I remember there was, like, a thing like that at Universal Studios where, like, you would be in a little cart, and then all of a sudden there would be, like, an earthquake and, like, fire and stuff like that, and it's like, oh no, we're stuck here, we can't go anywhere. Oh, thank God we're rescued. That would be a good ride. I would pay money for that. If you could guarantee my safety, give them blanks and just kind of cordon them off in a little safe area. And then you just drive through there. And then they have a gift shop at the end. It's just like a shitty, like, quick stop gas station. And they sell all, like, their kind of food there. You can buy, like, oversized, really long t-shirts, like the kind that go down to your knees. They got fake Jordans. I would pay for that.
I just be chilling. But as you chilling in life, I notice, like, a lot of guys, girls get mad. They need to prove themselves to you. They need you to notice them. That's it. You immature.
What the fuck does this have to do with light-skinned dudes? Like, why did you randomly bring these dudes up? Like,
it's not hard for me to get girls.
yeah.
I reject a lot of girls more than girls reject me. I reject more girls in my life than girls have rejected me. I'm used to having women, getting women, doing this, that. I spend my time building platforms. 400K platforms, 100K platforms, about to.
Like a medium-sized t-shirt, but it just goes down, like, to your ankles. It's got, like, the fucking Hamburglar and, like, Bart Simpson on it.
Hit 100K. Thousands and thousands of other platform podcasts. 50,000 platforms that I got on Facebook. That's what I spend my time doing, bro. I don't be thinking about women, guys.
Stop lying, you perverted ass dark skinned nigga. That's all.
I gotta listen to that again. I'm gonna clip that, actually.
About women, guys.
Stop lying, you perverted ass dark skinned nigga. That's all y'all think about is having sex with men and women. That's why y'all keep doing this shit. Like, come on, bro. Stop it. But I want to argue in women. Perverted ass dark.
I don't be thinking about women, guys.
Stop lying, you perverted ass dark skinned nigga. That's all y'all think about is having sex with men and women. That's why y'all keep doing this shit.
God damn.
Like, come on, bro.
There.
Stop it.
Holy shit, that's
but
so
I want
funny.
to get to a certain point that what he said, and this is why you light skinned dudes have to stop calling yourselves black men. I'm gonna tell you what.
Go do something and be something in your life. Stop worried about what I'm doing. I spend my time actually educating and helping others, teaching others and shit.
Funny.
Just be chilling, bro. And I realize a lot of people who hate you, dislike you, try to gaslight you, try to start problems with you because they're feminine. And they always need to come around me. Always need to come around me, be around me. I don't know why. The dark-skinned man, the actual dark-skinned man, the actual black man.
You heard what he said?
This literally looks like me when I'm filming myself walking through my pasture talking about how the robots are going to take over your brain. It's just a different mentality, but it's the same, like, same guy, same hat, pretty much.
He said the actual black man, which is why you light-skinned dudes should get, because they're trying to make you a subordinate to them. And this is what dark-skinned niggas do. They get around talking about how we all black so they can take your wins from you, because these niggas is peons, let's be real. And they don't have shit without light-skinned men in American society. But when they get around women and they talk about how, come get with a real black man.
It does kind of look like me right now. Yeah, it's the same guy.
Man, he ain't a real black man. They switch it up. But when it comes to light-skinned women, they the real black woman. And y'all have to call them out in this fuckery. And that's why they need y'all silent and not try to out the way. All right, and I think that's what...
Yeah, this is my Jesse Lee Peterson shirt that the graphic came off of. Fuck, I forgot what it said. Oh, it said amazing, and it had his face on there. Black people used to give me such a dirty look when I would wear it to the grocery store. It's just such a weird thing for a guy like me to have just a black guy's face on my shirt that says amazing. And it would probably piss them off even more if they knew who it was.
What that black woman was alluding to when she kept dissing light-skinned dudes.
Well, why don't you just tell me what to look up? You said Thomas Jefferson's racial algebra. I'll look that up.
I think that she wants light-skinned men to check dark-skinned men for the shit that they're doing. I think that's what she was trying to get, but I'm like, I don't know.
I just be chilling, man. That's it. That's all, man. I don't just be chilling, bro. I'm on my PC. I'm in my home, doing my thing on the internet. Got a lot of haters, a lot of critics. I don't get the respect that I deserve. Still trying to gain it. Still trying to get it.
Is that why you keep hating on light-skinned niggas? But I want to show something else. How deep the deception is with light-skinned men. All right.
Do you love black people? I did that one time after I was done having sex with my wife. I whispered in her ear and I said, "Do you love black people?" I like to have fun.
And I'm back, y'all. I seen this video like a week ago. But look how obsessed these men are with you guys. This shit is weird. Listen to what these dudes say.
I think women tend to do surgery more because they know that their currency, unfortunately, tends to be their beauty, whereas men, it tends to be their resources. So we don't necessarily need to. Like, I'm not the most attractive guy in the world, so I work as hard as I can to overcome that.
60 hours a week.
You know, I've got to, because that adds to my bonus. Like, I know there's tens of million guys better looking than me who don't have to work as hard as me, but I've had to work as hard. And one thing I've always said as well is this: I find it interesting when you go to the gym or when you see hench guys. And I was having this conversation with Anton the other day.
Yeah.
Funny conversation. Generally speaking, when it comes to like hench guys, are they usually dark skin or brown skin, light skin?
Dark skin.
Jeez, wow. Wow. So we was having a little bit of banter a while ago, innit?
You see how these dudes are obsessed with trying to compare themselves to light-skinned dudes? Like, it's weird as fuck. Who the fuck goes to the gym and fucking looks for a certain demographic of men to be in there? That shit is weird. I've never went to the fucking gym and where if Asian men were in here or if dark-skinned men were in here. I don't... Who the fuck... Like, these niggas are obsessed with y'all. Y'all all they think about, bruh. They fucking fear y'all. So I don't know why y'all fear them. They fucking scared of y'all.
Yeah. And they were saying that the reason why all you dark-skinned boys go to gyms is because...
They try to say, back in the day, all the girls used to go out.
They fear light-skinned guys like it's like a ingrained thing in their head from like the witch doctors telling them in Africa that the albinos will get you, but also if you eat their heart, it'll cure your AIDS.
I'm sitting back and thinking
when you think about it, all the fantastic examples.
Yeah, all the dark skin man in the gym.
Wow.
No, it's true.
Because Anton said I don't need to go gym.
Okay. But it don't work like that because things have flipped over.
Yeah, but...
No, things have flipped over the past 50 years, to be fair.
But there's a but, though.
No, there's no but.
No, but there's a but. Generally speaking, when you think of the man who go gym, generally speaking, the gym is full of who?
Ain't y'all hired? Don't y'all have a greater population than light-skinned dudes anyway? Like, come on. Like, who the hell thinks about shit like that? I'm telling you, they think about competing with y'all all day. They're very insecure about y'all. Even Kanye West told when he was talking about Drake, y'all all these men talk about.
It's a shot at my even at us.
No. Gabriel, like we was talking about this the other day when we was talking.
How many Wezzers have you seen?
We was talking.
How many hedge Wezzers have you seen?
We was talking about this.
Okay, let's go.
No,
Answer that one,
bro.
we'll go to you.
We was talking about this.
How many hedge Wezzers have you seen?
Oh, I heard that thing about the bald men in Africa.
Talking about a lot of times why we weren't training as consistent because let's be honest, it was linking bare girls.
Yeah, but
we had more time on linking than anything else.
Be real. When it comes to gym, man.
Yeah.
Just be honest.
No, there's more dancing, man.
You don't see the Wezzers in the gym.
One or two max.
To be honest, you really don't.
Yeah, one or two max.
And why?
That's very nice.
Because generally speaking, them man have been able to cut through. Like I know my USP. I'm a bit funny. I'm a bit tall, and I look like I work hard. So oh my gosh, she's a hardworking lady.
Yeah, I do agree kind of what he's saying. He's saying dark-skinned men do use other things to attract women. You can use a whole bunch of other shit to attract women. Like, men don't even need beauty to attract women. You just have to have swag and charisma, have a fun personality and shit. You don't even need shit they be talking about. And it's a light-skinned guy in there holding the camera. Probably why he said it, but like I've never worried about what another group of men were doing while I was in the gym. Like,
Dude, is this guy hard? The fuck? This guy's getting hard, getting talked down to by this guy playing his nipples. Hell yeah, dude. You guys are having fun in there.
Like, but that's how obsessed they are with you guys. I'll see you on the next one.
I'll see us on the next one. Actually, I want to see more of his. He's been uploading some stuff. And then we'll go and learn how to be gay by the American Pie Dad in drag. Let's see. Dark-skinned people turning light-skinned men into a joke. Agenda Part 1. White men fear the mulatto buck. Oh, shit. Shots fired at us. Okay. Now I feel personally...
quadroon. And a black man teach me that. He said, you know, Eric, you know why Hoover was so obedient to these presidents? Because he was a quadroon. These mulattoes and quadroons will do things no self-respecting black man would do.
I just learned the word quadroon like in the last 2 years.
Am I offending you yet? I hope I am, because everything I've just told you is the truth. Oh, I've offended you enough to get off your dump!
Your urban centers in the U.S. are being destroyed. They're being destroyed with crime.
Yeah, they're being destroyed by race mixing. All these white women laying down for these black men, creating these mulattoes and mulattas that will have their first allegiance to their black parents. And so they're greatly increasing the black population that's taught to hate us white people, take from us. And so these white women are participating in our destruction. They want to show they're not prejudiced. So I'll have sex with you, Mr. Black Man, because I'm not prejudiced. And he said, he's thinking, you sucker, you dumb white woman. I'll take you down, and it's just as much for more to hate you that much more. Classic example is Obama's father.
Bro, that's a fact. He's right about that. Shout out to Vanguard for this. Vanguard, can you please give me the name of this white guy? I've been looking for him everywhere. If you watch this video, please give me his name. I want his name bad, but he's speaking the facts right there. And it's the same thing with light skinned women who be doing that. It's like, this stupid female really gonna give me her vagina. But he's right about the last part about, how easy these white women are and things like that. But I'm going to give you more about why white teen men fear mulatto men. All right, but it's going to be about white women.
Don't make a sandwich. White women sometimes they feel like my people did you wrong. Yeah, bitch. Don't make a sandwich. Fuck is you talking about? Watch me go dunk this basketball when I come home.
Hey, it's me again. It's literally me. That's me as a black guy. Look how much swag I have. That's awesome. All these black guys are all taking my style. Literally the same hat.
Suck my dick and rub my feet. Because your ancestors wowed down on my ancestors. Now we in power. And they be like, I am the devil. We did do you wrong. Yeah, you're right. So that's what I get where Paul Pierce coming from. Look, see, you guys found great women. So, some people envy that. So you guys are in great situations. When you got other people, when you work hard for money, or you're a celebrity or you're an athlete and you're in a certain position, and they come with no.
You hear what Cameron said? But
oh, I've heard the name Cameron.
I want to talk about this because
is that one of those uppity ones? I've heard of him. He does the rap, right?
Shout out to the Mulato, the _ Mulattoes, for this video, because I've been looking for this video on TikTok for a very long time about this guy. At least I seen it like months ago, I think, and it's just light-skinned dude who revealed the truth about why they fear mulatto men, especially white men, and why those laws was passed about race mixing, and why men of color or black men couldn't get with white women. And a lot of these black men who are darker complected were in the comment section butthurt because, they have to overgas themselves to make themselves feel like they were that dude. And they're going to tell you the truth of what type of man that white women have always desired when it comes to, and women period, have always desired naturally, organically. It's a reason why I got a video coming about.
I think there must be something wrong with my wife then, because she doesn't even see you guys as people, let alone being attracted to you. So I need to fix that. I need to explain to her that that's not right, and they have feelings too. At least we pretend they do. But yeah, I need to go and have a serious talk with my wife.
And I want you guys to imagine this when I say this. Imagine a world where light-skinned men were not cock-blocked.
By the way, Purple Pretzel is my wife. How do you feel about this? Do you feel like you need to fix things?
Or if the Blue Vein Society never... Imagine if the mulatto, if we never got our racial designation erased, we were a competitive group. It'd be a completely different ball game. But think about a world where dark-skinned men and white men didn't work together and try to sabotage the mulatto man's desirability. These dudes wouldn't be able to compete with us.
I've thought about wearing an afro wig. Or what was it else I was thinking? You're 150 pounds too light. Yeah, you need to lose a few. Sorry. Fuck, I forgot where I was going. There was something I was going to put on. There was some kind of stupid outfit I was going to buy. I can't remember. I think maybe I was considering putting on like blackface and an afro and just not really mentioning it at all.
They can only spread rumors and force people to desire them and things like that. But let's see what this real quick.
Some white women had a thing for the Drakes and Chris Brown types. A light-skinned brother. Just as with enslaved women, some light-skinned men all...
Oh, that's right. You're right. Yeah, somehow, we got shower caps in the mail. I don't know, our Amazon delivery driver, we don't have black people on our street, so I don't know how they ended up in our mail. And I can't believe I threw those out. I remember instantly regretting it. That's what I was going to wear on the show, was a shower cap.
Often found themselves the particular target of such sexual exploitation. Richard Hinton, a white abolitionist, testified to them.
Dude, that motherfucker's head looks like a light bulb.
American Freedmen's Inquiry Commission that he had never encountered a light-skinned formerly enslaved man who,
is that your voice?
Quotes, who has not told him of instances where he has been compelled either by his mistress or by white women of the same class to.
Dude, he's got the same voice. Baby, do you remember his that gay guy that we that little gay midget that we used to work with? He had that same fucking voice. Oh man, that kid was something else.
To have a connection with them. Shocking, I know, but it gets worse because roughly 9% of Virginia's divorce petitions from 1786 to 1851 were from interracial adultery, with 23 of those petitions coming from white men who complained about their wives' relationships with black men. One man remembered, and I quote, "Mulattoes are not a rare article in the South, and wives and daughters of slaveholders are often the mothers of them than poor women."
It was so funny to think about that little tiny gay man that he would always wear like these little denim outfits, and he would just spin around and just go and just sucking his teeth and his lips smacking, and he was getting banged out by some cop. I wonder what the cop looked like. It's so funny to me that there was like probably just like some hyper masculine cop just railing this little twink black kid.
But yes, Mulatto man was very fantasized back in the day, and I've been talking about the mulatto buck for a little while, and I'm gonna go deeper into certain books where they showed how white men feared mulatto men getting with white women and things like that.
That's one of my biggest fears every day. It's probably all I think about, actually, is that concern of the mulatto buck coming for me and my wife and showing me what a real man is the mulatto man.
And the same thing with black women. But it's the truth. I'll show this here. Proves that mulatto men were the real preference, not black men. Absolutely. I already told you that the light-skinned male and female, or the mulatto female and male, we're naturally the most attractive people on planet Earth. I was just thinking I could remix this. But yeah, that's true.
Somebody in that motherfucker?
You had a lot of black men who were butthurt trying to make up this BS about, well, they prefer dark skin because, we had the African anatomy and we had the muscles. like these dudes is nuts, man. But yeah, a little bit of real history for you. But I'm gonna go deeper into some of this stuff. I also got something coming on Nat Turner, which I'm gonna react to that video. And he did a good job, even though I didn't agree with everything he said, but he did a good job. And he talked about how Nat Turner was a very light-skinned man and how they basically started to darken up his skin once they found out he was light-skinned.
I love that there's a whole hashtag right there that's for mixed race. And there's a channel for @the_mulattoes. It's so funny to think that this is such a giant problem for these people. And it literally couldn't be the first, I know, at least from my perspective, it couldn't be the furthest thing from my mind is this inner turmoil between the light elves and the dark elves. God damn it. It's I'm more worried about the end of the earth and I don't know, possibly the economy collapsing and all sorts of things. And this guy is just worried about, man, they dark skins, they hating. That is pretty wild. And on that topic, Slav sent me a Okay, this is Thomas Jefferson's, what did he call it? What'd you say it was called? Where did you said it somewhere. Thomas Jefferson Racial Algebra. All right. Let us express the pure blood of the white in the capital letters of the printed alphabet, the pure blood of the Negro in small letters of the printed alphabet, and any given mixture of either, by way of abridgment in MS letters. Let the first crossing be of A, pure Negro, with A capital, pure white. The unit of blood of the issue being composed of the half of that of each parent will be lowercase a over 2 plus capital A over 2. Call it, for abbreviation, H, half blood. I need to read out the part that's highlighted up there. When in 1815, the brash Francis C. Gray asked him indiscreetly, at what point does a black man become white? Jefferson replied, you asked me in conversation what constituted a mulatto by our law. Our canon considers 2 crosses with pure white, and a third with any degree of mixture, however small, as clearing the issue of Negro blood. Okay, so now we've got the first part of our function where H, we'll call it half blood. Okay. All right. Let the second crossing be of H and B, capital B. The blood of the issue will be lowercase h for half blood over 2 plus capital B, which is the blood of the issue, over 2. Or substituting for lowercase h over 2, its equivalent. It will be lowercase a over 4 plus capital A over 4 plus capital B over 2. Call it Q, quadroon, being a quarter Negro blood. Let the third crossing be of Q and C, lowercase q. Their offspring will be lowercase q over 2 plus capital C over 2 equals lowercase a over 8 plus capital A. I'm just thinking about fucking Mendel, the mathematician that like discovered all of like the little, like he did those experiments with plants, like crossing breeds and genetics. And he was studying Mendel, and then he came up with this. So we had, we left off at capital A over 8 plus capital B over 4 plus capital C over 2. Call this the E, eighth. Who having less than 1/4 of A, lowercase a, or of pure Negro blood, to wit, 1/8 only, is no longer mulatto, so that a third cross clears the blood. From these elements, let us examine their compounds. For example, let lowercase h and lowercase q cohabit. Their issue will be lowercase h over 2 plus lowercase q over 2 equals lowercase a over 4 plus capital A over 4 plus lowercase a over 8 capital A over 8. Okay. B, capital B over 4 equals, oh, now we're getting into some real, let's see. He's putting a 3 before it. So we've got, what is that? That's not the cube root, is it? Is that cube root of lowercase a over 8 and then cube root capital A over 8 plus capital B over 4, wherein we find 3/8 of a lowercase a or Negro blood. This is really, really difficult math. Like, I was not prepared for this. This is a lot of stuff to remember. Like, this is a lot of things to substitute. I wonder if you can find pi through this. Let H. Oh yeah, you saw that, Genesee. Yeah, just message him. I figured we'd run into each other on the stream. So, good job, man. Hope you enjoy it. I'll probably have to sign up for it because I keep forgetting. This is quite a bunch of good math. And then also we've got like another Mendel chart. Parent 1, parent. All right, so if you have a Spaniard and an Indian, that makes a mestizo. I'm assuming the Indian is like Indian from over here, like feather Indian. Then we have mestizo plus a Spanish equals a castizo. Spaniard plus a castizo equals a Spaniard. Oh, so we reverse. It's kind of like you're killing the head vampire. You go back to Spaniard. Then you have a Negro plus a Spanish equals a mulatto. Okay, so see, this is different from what this guy is saying because the white fears the mulatto, and the mulatto is a white and a black. But I guess technically Spaniards are kind of white. So we've got the Morisco. I think I ordered that at a Brazilian restaurant once. Then we've got the Spaniard and Morisco. That's how you make an albino? Man, I could make a lot of money making albinos and selling them to Africa. You sent me a German race chart as well. Okay. Oops. Let me pull up Mendel really quick. Yeah, this is literally Gregor Mendel's, like, that's so awesome. This is the stuff I had to learn in biology. So this is basically what you end up learning. That's hilarious. What year was he? What are you doing? God damn it. Okay, he was in 1865, so this would make sense that this math all became the rage. Okay. Okay, Morisco's is a Mexican seafood restaurant. Okay. That's interesting to know. A Barcino. I've never even heard of that before. A Coyote Mestizo. And this one, I've never even heard of a Ají te estas. Ají te estas. Doesn't that just mean you're over here? I'm over here now. And then let's look at this German. Is there a way to zoom in? Okay. Dutch Bleiter. Bleitiger. Mischling. A Mischling, and a Jude, and a Jude. Interesting. Oh, man. We should start making albinos. I'm going to open up a factory, and I'm going to start making, I'm going to make, because some guy's just got way too much power, but he's still retarded. So he just like, he's able to create like a genetics lab, and then he just still like, he believes in this shit, and he's just got a whole factory like in the Matrix of these pods of these poor albinos coming out, and he's just harvesting their skulls and their hands and making like monkey paw things and like selling them like to just you get like 5 wishes, and then like each time like the finger goes down, or you get like some kind of powder from them. That is interesting. I'm glad I knew that. This is good math, though. This is interesting. I am so curious on how to find out how to be gay. She really does look like the dad from American Pie. It's so ridiculous. She looks so bad right here. I think she learned her lesson because like none of her other videos recently look like that. Oh, there she goes. She was experimenting with coloring her eyebrows, I think. Someone just went and bought new makeup and they were trying it out. And she's just going to get positive feedback no matter how stupid she looks because of these people that are simps for her. It doesn't matter that like she's not even that attractive. It's just that she treats them bad. And some guys just really love that. I know I do.
Everyone, my name is Bella and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a very juicy topic to talk to you about because it has been coming up on my special page a lot recently. And I was like, oh my god, really? Like really, I can't believe it.
Elon Musk's son looks a lot better than this. I gotta say. Yeah, this is the girl that was teaching us how to consume feces. She was explaining that you can take it with, if you don't like the taste, that you can go ahead and try using like a juice, mixing it with juice. You can bathe in it, which I'm wondering if that's where Rube learned this, is that he's been watching this chick. But let's go ahead and find out. I haven't seen her vagina yet. I haven't paid for her OnlyFans. I don't know if she has nudes or anything like that. She could just be clothed the whole time. It would not surprise me.
Because being homosexual, especially amongst men, is really like, how would I call it? Taboo. Like all of these men are like, no homo, no gay. I would never be into a man. But
I know when I'm with my guy pals, I'm like, I would never be into a man. Just randomly. Just all sitting together watching something or just eating. Like, man, I would never be into a man.
the truth is, now hear me out. They are into men. All men are into men.
Oh, shit. Is that true, guys?
Yeah, like, I honestly believe that if somebody's like, no homo, like really this toxic masculinity or whatever, they're just hiding it in. Like, deep inside, they would go for a man. That's what I believe, that's my experience, and that's what has been coming through on my special page a lot. By the way, the link is in the description. If you...
Which one of you fucking assholes has been giving away our secrets? This... One of you is in deep shit, because if they find out this stuff, how the fuck are we going to control women's bodies and tell them exactly what to do with their bodies?
You want to tell me about your secret, which is not a secret anymore because I know, then come there. Or if you want to be trained, okay? If you want to be trained to really accept it and to really, move forward with this little exploration of yours, then I can help you, okay? Down in the description. Anyways.
Hold on. For research purposes, I'm going to go down into the description. I don't see anything of use here. Not that I'm really that interested. I love how she's condescending towards homosexuals. I think I am gay, and Bella pushes me more and more, and I think it's right. I think with the anime profile picture, using heart emojis, I think you are good to go, sir. You are gay. Am I gay if I watch this? Yes. I'm going to thumbs that up. Got here so early. I love your videos so much. I love that this guy has, look at the profile picture he has. The guy from, was it Heavy Metal? Not Heavy Metal, Full Metal Jacket. The fucking drill sergeant as a submissive man. See, I told you somebody would be telling this bitch about her fucking eyebrows being good. Nobody is fucking honest with her. Once you're with a man, there's no going back. I'm 74. Oh, God, this really is a dark sentence. I'm 74, started at 16 with a 60-year-old. Oh, God, that's not good. Let me thumbs that up, though. And I can't. Let me thumbs that up. Let me encourage you more to share. Someone said you're a victim, bro, Chacho. Ah, man. This is such a great fucking... Yeah. My wife is a bitch texting me. Fuck you. That's not funny. God damn it.
How to be gay and how to come out if you're gay. Okay, first of all, I feel like a lot of men are into this because it's so taboo. Like, you're not allowed to be a gay if you're a man. Okay? Like, you have to be a real man, and you can't just go around and be like, oh, you know what, I'm a gay. And I know actually some men in real life too who are gay, but they hide it, right? And it's so weird because with women, it's like if somebody's a lesbian, she can just say it like that. Like, yeah, I'm a lesbian. Everybody's like, oh my god, that's so hot. Like, ooh, I want to see. Like, I want to see what you do with other girls. But with a man, is like, when a man is like, I'm gay, everybody's like, gay, you know? And, yeah, I mean, I might laugh at you too, honestly. Like, if you show me some videos or something, I might laugh too, because because it's just so funny, especially with those men who pretend not to, like, you know what, but they do, you know, and then they send me all these videos and they're completely like, oh my god, I have never had anything better in my life than this, okay? And also this video is kind of how would I say it, invitation for all of you guys to accept it, to accept that you are homo, and to come out of the closet, because it's honestly funny, you know, it's honestly so, I personally think it's cute, okay? And I would not, like, lose respect for a man if he told me that he was gay. Like, maybe I would, but, like, he would still be cute, you know what I mean? Like, just tell me, like, I would laugh about you, and I would support you too, right? And is that bad? You don't want me to laugh at you? Like, you don't want genuine support? You do, right?
Oh,
so, like,
hell yeah. What is this?
Come on, like, I already know that you want it.
That.
And also, I want to talk about the other aspect of homosexuality, especially with men, is that a lot of men report that having intimate encounters with other men is a lot easier than with women.
Sorry, hold on a second. I just clicked somebody in the comments. This is a guy that is cross-dressing, and then he's got a playlist for fucking plumbing repair, a worm farm, chainsaw repair. Look down at the bottom. Breast enlargement, extreme butt enlargement. God damn, that's so fucking fun. He's transitioning. Trump, Oh, I can't scroll down, but it says Trump for president. Hell yeah. Look at this. Nudist. Dude, we're about to all become gay. Sorry, I can't play that. That's going to... This guy is all over the place. This guy is probably just... Look at that. Joff deal for I love how he hates the liberals. This is so awesome. The communion. Hell yeah. He's got a communion playlist. Damn, that's awesome. Look at the stuff that you just find. I told you, if you just go into the comment sections of these videos and just you find the craziest person that you can. That kicks ass. I'm going to subscribe to you. Come on. Why won't it let me sub? There we go. You got yourself a subscriber there.
Because they say that when they're with a man, the man knows exactly what another man wants, and they are not afraid to ask for it, and they treat it as it is, right? Like, these kind of encounters, they are very straightforward. There's no like woo around it, you know. But with a woman, it's a little bit more complicated, right? But just saying, being with a woman is not for you.
I'm forming a team.
Okay, that was just a little detail that I wanted to mention. But being with a woman is not an option for you anymore, because you do not get as excited when you think about women as you do when you think about men. Am I right? Yeah, like, I know that you truly want to be like bend over, and yeah, I know, and honestly, it's not even a surprise to me, because I feel like a lot of men, like how a lot of men get into it, is that they just want to experience being on the other side, right? On the receiving side. And that's normal, okay? And
I like how I'm just watching my viewers go down as I'm watching this video.
And I also have like nudges to be the dominant one. Like, that's what I'm doing, right? Like, I have my strap and whatever, and I want to dominate also. Like, I want to be on the other side too. So it's just completely natural for men to be on the other receiving side, and I feel like it's a lot easier to find a man to do that than a woman, okay? Or you can also like look for a trans if that's what you're into. But generally speaking, I feel like the easiest is just to go for a man, and also like being with a man is really straightforward, as I said, because men understand men more, I think, than a woman would. So yeah. Of course, there's women that use strap-ons, but it's not really that commonly.
Can you believe that there's people that pay this woman for this advice? She has 65,000 subscribers. When I first subscribed her, when I first subscribed to this retard, she had maybe like 5,000 followers at most, and that was not even like a year or two. Maybe it's been 2 years, and it's just, I hope that we see her on Joe Rogan one day. She's going to be on Joe Rogan. Oh, man. Oh, wow.
Be shown around, which I also want to kind of encourage more women to try this, because honestly, ever since I started to use my strap-on, where is it? Where did I put it? Oh, it's here. Ever since I started to use my strap, oh my god, I hope it wasn't seen in the video. Ever since I started to use my strap, I just feel so much more powerful and so much more like masculine and, you know, just feisty, and I just want to like use it, right? So I would like to encourage more women to also turn men gay, okay? Because they all want to. They honestly all do, really. Like, not just from my personal experience, not just even from my special page, but
you're asking where is her father? Her father is anywhere but here. You didn't see her explaining to us how to be a toilet slave. That was a very eye-opening video. And it was so funny that she was doing this in the middle of a park with people just jogging by.
But in general, yeah. So come out of the closet.
Animal.
I love you all so much. Happy Pride Month.
Vincent, I'm sorry. I know you don't like this shit. Let's there was one thing I wanted to see that showed up in my algorithm.
Please.
It's some kind of, I think it's because I've been watching mining in Africa videos that I've got some kind of sitcom. It's from Magamba TV. And let's see. Zimbabwe's mining sector is highly diversified with close to 40 different minerals, but are Zimbabwean communities benefiting from these minerals? All right, let's see how this goes.
Where is it?
God damn, look at those giant titties. Would you say wood? Wood? She's bigger than both of them combined.
Momsi, usati zvine basa remutemo munoziva ivini. Ingamunoziva kuti vakadzi wabvumidzwa makomba. Malast time makaita nharo, tikapedzera tarasa bhanda.
Mutemo wekuita seko iyo. Zvakanzi 50-50 masectors.
Imi momsi.
You guys wouldn't fuck this? Look at that. Look at all that extra woman. When you go and date, you know, a pretty thin white girl, you're not getting all this extra meat there. What if you need to stay warm? You're out here in the desert. You know, look at him grabbing his dick. He just can't help it.
Future branch office kwenyu kokwete kunoku mani. Chomwana.
Ko big boss of Mansoka.
Obviously wapaka mota kumain road. Ukaona tati guru wachifamba netsoka vanenge vauya ne-C class. Kuno ku-C class haifambi inonyora kuti no road.
Wait, what?
Tati guru wachifamba netsoka vanenge vauya ne-C class. Kuno ku-C class haifambi inonyora kuti no road.
Shamwari. Nyangwe chikochikari chaicho chemadhongi. Kuno tinotobvudza kuti no road. Nekuti kubva kumain road uko kusvika kurwizi. Hapana panofambika makomba ega ega.
Asiyo madhawo chimbotaurira. Nemari isatobudisa makomba mu.
Why is this guy playing with his dick?
Roti mukushaka naka peace yekudevelop road dzemunomu.
Shamwari. Varungu vacho vakatoomera kunge mugoti webhachuva. Unoziva kuti ndakanchiverenga newspapers ndikatonzwa kuti mining yega yakazvimirira pasina kana corruption inogona kusimudza economy yenyika ino.
Mining? Kudhara ikoko.
Verenga. 13% yeGDP yenyika ino inobva kumining. Kubva pamaminerals anodarika 6.
It's using the numbers 13 and 60%. I wonder if some white guy was just helping him write this sketch. He's like just leaving code for us to go and see it later.
And pasikise ipapo gold ndoriri pamusoro soro. And unoziva kuti 60% yegold remunombo inobva ku.
Zvirovya usapuse mani. Andinobva ma big minds here. Mama nakatonga na kuvimba. Caledonia ana
Wakani. Rinobva kuma small scale miners anenge isusu. Ma big companies vautaura yoga anoproduce up to 1 ton per month. Isu makorokoza tinopush up to 1.9 tons per month.
Saka sei life yedu isiri kumbochinja.
Tikutowedzera.
Her nipples are getting hard. I don't know if that's turning on any of you guys, but imagine how big that thing is.
tatambudzika kudarika zvataita kudhara nezvi kana minda cheche yataisirima hakusisina miti cheche hakusisina rangojecha rega rega revatobo
severa kuti kukoshi kunzwira miti dzese tsitsidzi wambona zvatakapfekera isusu hazvikufadzera bvapa mani kana chikafu chaicho everyday cabbage rine sauti 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 pane zvimwe mani
madau
tambireveharara
vamwari kuti
vamwari pasi wetori basa
alright yes wonderful job yes ndapane kumiuka komana ndichiona dombo ramakachera nezuro wonderful job aiwa muri kurowa komana.
How did that bitch get that big on salt and sauerkraut?
Varume muri kushanda. Lovely. Lovely. Excellent. Madam. Ndamadzimaika. Madam. I know that's right. Inini handisikugai. Ndangoti ndingopfura ndichingokuona ndombokusirayo kalitu something anditi muone chinokubatsirayo kuti murarama. Mati muri vangani zviya pana?
Pana pa 3 plus pani 17 to make it 20.
20.
Yes.
20. Wira idone. Muri kubata basa wakomana. Muri kubata basa zviri kuonekwa. Zviri kuonekwa. Yeah. Right. Oh, madam. Right. Muita 10 pamunhu anditi imi muchiisa imari imbodi anditika mozovatambidza movahoresa kana vachinge vabuda kubva pasi andete right $10 bosi nemashandirese atiri kuita $10 bosi musadaro mani bosi ndoani zveyo chomwana chinje mwana iwewe kana usasade basa mining munomu unoenda kuagriculture unochera mbambaira kwese kuchera ndiri.
Does anyone get the feeling that there's about to be a dinosaur coming out from one of these like valleys?
No, it's okay for that. It's a body. Munova pakana vachinge vabuda. Alright, ande gadzokera zvedu pasitori. Iwe wekutaurisa chu ndandakangano uya kunotoona utakuresa gare makabheji kune machansi bosi makabheji futi wakaguta omana madhago keep it up iwe chamwana uya kana ana mane nzara ndiwe nditira zvako mukuru kuti kuita pange chikamutate chidapinda mdunguma
hazvinotozomboPera mushe reboys but tazvijaira kuti pese panotongoya mabig boss nemari panotomboitika kabody slam chete neboys but problem ndeyekuti vakura.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that one guy coming in, he just comes through the jungle like Jerry.
Vanofunga kuti isatizive zvinenge zvichiitika handikamavaona vachingondivharavhara ini handina .com remining randisingazivi.
Is this Elaine? This lady is Elaine.
Kana iri radio ndinonyatsoiteerera ende newspaper rese rinoya pano risati raenda kutoilet ndinototi ndiriverenge chete. Last year 2022 gold rakacherwa muno muZimbabwe rinosvika 35.38 tons. Imari mbishi kai kwakuzoti kuplatinum. Zimbabwe yakaita kusenga mukwende ine 2.8 billion tons dzeplatinum inova 8% yeplatinum rinocherwa pasi rino rese. Imari shomayo zvamanje manje ka tine lithium. Paongororo yakaitwa Zimbabwe ndo yakati zete pamusoro peAfrica yese ne 10.8 million metric tons inova 20% yelithium inodiwa pasi rino rese kugadzira mabattery.
Yeah, I feel like the short one was George, the one that was playing with his dick. You're right.
Chrome ndataura nezvayo aiwa handina kutaura kunoku pasi apa pane 10 billion tons dzechrome inova iyo 12%.
You know, I'm not really a fan of the electric cars, but I mean, a lot of this stuff is required for our vehicles, no matter what we drive. And it's kind of funny that people go to work. Like, there's so many people that just have to, like, in this country, have to know so many skills. And then to be able to get, like, their enormous projects that go to space and stuff like that, it all starts with this lady or these bozos out there with fucking sandals and or no shoes on, walking through the mud to get your stupid rock so that you can get your cell phone. If it wasn't for these people, we would have none of this stream.
Yechrome rinowanikwa pasi rino iri rese ndisati ndatombobata kudiamond Zimbabwe chiRonaldo pakadiamond apa tiri panhamba 7 3% yediamond rinoshanda pasi rino iri rese inobva muno muZimbabwe and tine more than 60 minerals dzingori muno muZimbabwe. Kunezve dzimwe nyowani dzatisati tajairana nadzo, kune dziri kubuda nepamuzarabana apa kuChamhembe uko kuri kunzi kuda helium ne oil Zimbabwe kumba tapinda machena patiri kuisirwa pasi nehori wanyanya mumaini uri kutangira kumusoro kwatisingaoni wodzika kusvikira kuzasi kumadzisabhuku atinoswera nawo munharaunda kungori kuvharana kwega saka achatibatsirawo chotiya.
Okay, this is like Green Governance Zimbabwe Trust. So this is like kind of like a government TV thing. Okay. Oh, you're talking about the one, what's the song that they sing in that one Slav? No, what is it? What's that song that they sing in that one you're talking about? No something. Hold on. What is that song? Fuck. God damn it. What is that fucking song? Oh, I like, the one about not sleeping in the road. Don't drink and drive. What is the song? Because it's not. God damn it. Don't sniff petrol. Oh, don't be Rama Rama. There it is. I knew it was something. Don't be something. Don't be Rama Rama. Don't be Rama Rama. There we go.
We can stay forever. Show me sister, show me brother, and we stay strong for one another.
God, that's depressing, dude. Oh my God. Did we lose you, Vince? Oh my God. That is so fucking depressing. I forgot how sad this makes me, especially just like the lack of enthusiasm and just trying to get your people just, please don't sleep in the road and please don't huff the petrol. Please, brother. Oh, God. I'm going to make an army of these people, Slav. I'm going to invade countries with these people.
Come on, come on, come on, come on, yeah! Come on, come on. We put the leaders over the islands. You don't sniff petrol from a can. You put the petrol in the United States. Don't be rama messing with your baby.
Oh, come on. Not the baby. Dude, that's depressing me. I can't watch this. This makes me so sad. This is way worse than eating your own shit or becoming gay or white men fearing the fucking mulatto. I can't watch that poor kid thinking about what these. That's too difficult for me. I'm sorry. Let's clean it up a little bit. I wanted to learn more about this. I know this is a whole, we just took a 90-degree turn. This is the Bible study, the two pillars named Jachin and Boaz. Jared was telling me about this, and I need to get away from that Rama thing. That really, oh God. Oh, I'd rather watch fucking Palestinians be slaughtered. Oh, okay. Boom Bye Bye is a song about Bati boys. Yeah. I remember that song, I think. Dude, I can't watch those kids be raised by people that are huffing petrol. That's just too dark for me.
Today we're going to be revisiting the story of the First Temple's pillars, which were named Jachin and Boaz. We're going to be making its own video to help cross-referencing in the future. If you want to see how these two pillars fit into the larger story of the Bible, then watch the two pillars and the two witnesses. There's always a larger story and context with God. Let's understand the backstory here. God's chosen people, the Israelites, came into the Promised Land and eventually wanted a king to rule over them like the nations around them. God gave them Saul, who disobeyed God, and then he gave them David. King David was a good servant of God, and although he was flawed, he repented from his evil deeds, and a kingdom was established by God for David by seating his son Solomon on the throne. David wanted to build a house for God, but God didn't want David to build it since he
Wasn't Solomon kind of a piece of shit, Jared?
had shed so much blood in his life. So he chose his son Solomon to build the first temple of God. If you want to see an amazing video about all the connections where God chose to build the first temple, watch Moriah, the Holy Land. It's 43 minutes long, but all those connections will leave you simply amazed. But back to Solomon and the first temple. He did build the house of God, but did something very particular when he placed two pillars in front of the temple. 1 Kings 7:21. Then he set up the pillars by the vestibule of the temple. He set up the pillar on the right and called its name Jachin, and he set up the pillar on the left and called its name Boaz. God's first temple, built by Solomon, not only has two pillars at the entrance, but also goes a step further by naming the two pillars on either side. Boaz has a rather famous story in the book of Ruth of the man that redeems a foreign woman named Ruth and produces a child that becomes the grandfather to David, the king of Israel. Now, if you look for the name Jachin in the Bible, you will come up with 3 different names, one of which did not live when this first temple was built, so we can disqualify him for this pillar. But the other 2 Jachins in the Bible do give us insight into the pillar's meaning. In Hebrew, the names of the people have meaning as their names come from other root words. So if we look up the meaning of the names, we come up with this. Jachin, he establishes. He will give certainty. Boaz, in strength, by strength.
A worm demon? I didn't know about worm demons. I mean, I'm not gonna give him a hard time about 6,000 concubines. That sounds, I mean, yeah, that's really bad. I would never want that.
So by
demons trapped in a jar? Well, I mean, at least he didn't let them loose. Did he let them loose, or 72 demons trapped in a jar? Why have I heard that before?
Definition of the names themselves, the pillars together means he establishes in strength. This sounds like a very sturdy structure of 2 pillars to hold up the first temple of God that was built by Solomon, the son of the great king. That symbolism is there on purpose, both by me and God. Now, how do the stories of Jachin and Boaz each fit into this? First, we'll start with Boaz's pillar. His story is a well-known story in the book of Ruth. Ruth 4, 9 through 10. And Boaz said to the elders and all the people, "You are witnesses this day that I have bought all that was Elimelech's and all that was Kilion's and Mahlon's from the hand of Naomi. Moreover, Ruth the Moabitess, the widow of Mahlon, I have acquired as my wife, to perpetuate the name of the dead through his inheritance, that the name of the dead may not be cut off from among his brethren and from his position at the gate. You are witnesses this day." Boaz redeems a woman by paying off a debt, then marrying a non-Israelite to make sure the family name will continue. And with a nice touch, Boaz asks the people to be his witnesses. Boaz's story to the pillar doesn't end there. Now look at Ephesians 5, 23 through 27. For the husband is the head of the wife, as also Christ is head of the church, and he is the Savior of the body. Therefore, just as the church is subject to Christ, so let the wives be to their own husbands in everything. Husbands, love your wives, just as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for her, that he might sanctify her and cleanse her with the washing of the water by the word.
I thought the splitting of the baby, I thought that was like the deal that he came up with them to make, but they didn't actually do it. Did they actually split the baby? I thought that like it was like an extreme like decision, so they decide, okay, like one person's gonna take it because they didn't want to chop the baby in half,
that he might present her to himself a glorious church. This is a well-known verse equating that the church is the bride of Christ. Let's compare the story of Boaz to Christ and the church. Boaz pays off a debt of land. Jesus pays the price for humanity to give us a chance to get to the ultimate promised land, heaven. Boaz redeems a woman by marrying Ruth. Jesus redeems the people by marrying his bride, the church. Ruth is a non-Israelite. The Christian church is for all people, especially Gentiles, people that are non-Israelites. Boaz, who is named as a pillar, asked the people to be a witness to the redemption. The pillars of the earth are actually witnesses. And here is something pertinent from the book of Timothy. 1 Timothy 3:15. But if I should be delayed, you shall know how to behave in the household of God, which is the church of the living God, the pillar and foundation of truth. The church is the pillar and foundation of truth. If you break down the context of the stories, then you can see the connections and that there's something much larger going on here. Now we need to get to the Jachin pillar. Remember, there were 2 Jachins that lived before King Solomon's.
Yeah, I was listening all day today about being the bride of the church, and that because some of you may not like it. I'm not exactly a fan of Catholicism, and I guess the argument that this guy was making, which is kind of something I believe, is really like the church is really in your group, and it's not really like a big collaboration in like some temple. It's really wherever you're at. It's a binding that you have with Christ.
Temple. The first one we'll bring up is from the book of Genesis. This Jachin was a son of Simeon, one of the original Israelites that made their way down to Egypt. His father Simeon was someone significant too. Simeon and his brother Levi murdered the people at Shechem for raping his sister Dinah. His father Jacob was not pleased with this and gave Simeon and Levi a very bad blessing. Look at the last part. Genesis 49, 5 through 7. Simeon and Levi are brothers. Cursed be their anger, for it is fierce, and their wrath, for it is cruel. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel.
The Zohar is that I was just learning about. I don't know anything really about it, but that's one of the teachings of Judaism, right? Is like that's one of the Hebrews, right? It's like it's like Kabbalah, and then there's Talmudic, and then there's the Torah.
And when the Israelite tribes are given their lots of the promised land from Joshua, the Levites receive places scattered in other territories as they are priests, and the Simeonites receive a lot that is part of the land of Judah. So his father's bad blessing comes true for both of them. So in the overall context, this Jachin, a Simeonite, comes down to a foreign land, and his descendants don't have a land of their own. The second Jachin in the Bible would be a Levite and a grandson of Aaron, the first high priest. The whole family of Aaron were ordained as priests by God. We find this Jachin mentioned in the book of Chronicles. In this chapter, they are dividing the succession order after Aaron, and here is where we find Jachin. 1 Chronicles 24, 1 through 18. Now these are the divisions of the sons of Aaron. Then David, with Zadok of the sons of Eleazar, and Helimelech of the sons of Ithamar, divided them according to the schedule of their service. Thus they were divided by lot, the 21st to Jachin. The 21st lot of succession. Remember, everything has significance in the Bible, even numbers. That number 21 as a term of succession will find meaning in the New Testament. There isn't anything in the New Testament about a succession order, but there are two genealogies of Jesus Christ, one in Matthew and one in Luke.
This is the hardest part of the Bible for me, is I can never, and this is exactly what I was just about to say, is like when they do this, Abraham begot Isaac, Isaac begot Jacob, and this is so, I can never remember any of that. It's so difficult for me.
They are different, but both track the descendant line to Jesus. They start to differ after David. One follows the royal line of Solomon in Matthew, and the one in Luke through his brother Nathan. The first one we'll check out is in Matthew. This genealogy goes from Abraham to Jesus, but if we're comparing the succession order of Aaron to the descendants of Jesus Christ, then we have to find some commonality. Let's look at Aaron's genealogy, which we find in Exodus. Exodus 6:23. Aaron took to himself Elisheba, daughter of Amminadab, sister of Nahshon, as wife, and she bore him Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. The daughter of Amminadab, sister of Nahshon, as his wife. Now where do we find those names? Oh, right here in the genealogy of Jesus Christ. If Jachin is a descendant of Aaron, then Aaron marrying the sister of Nahshon would be a good place to start counting the descendant line from the first high priest. Now, if you count 21 generations from Nahshon, you will come to someone significant, and his name is Zerubbabel. Now, that might sound arbitrary and forced, but let's hold on to this one and go to the other genealogy in Luke to see if we find anything there. Interesting thing, this Luke genealogy is listed in reverse order from Jesus all the way back to God. Everything has significance in the Bible, even how things are told. So if we go backward from Jesus, 21 generations, we come to, whoa, Zerubbabel again. This cannot be a coincidence that both genealogies lead 21 generations to the same man from different ways. That number 21 from Jachin is sounding meaningful right now. And now we have to look at the story of Zerubbabel. The Israelites went into exile as slaves to the king of Babylon for 70 years. Then God stirred up the spirit of King Cyrus to free his people out of captivity, and specifically to rebuild the second temple of God. And when the people come back to Jerusalem, there is that very specific person. Ezra 5:2. So Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, and Jeshua, the son of Josadak, rose up and began to build the house of God, which is in Jerusalem.
Zerubbabel is not only in both descendant lines to Jesus, but becomes the man that rebuilds the house of God. Okay, that sounds like a really good connection to Jesus, but we're not done yet. Zerubbabel is mentioned in the books of Ezra, Nehemiah, Haggai, and Zechariah, which makes sense as they are all post-exile books. But a very eye-opening thing starts to happen in Haggai and the prophetic book of Zechariah.
There's a lot to take in here, and this is going to read with all kinds of that double meaning we've been talking about. I will take you, Zerubbabel, my servant, and will make you like a signet ring, for I have chosen you. We know Jesus Christ has been crowned king. This is the word of the Lord to Zerubbabel, not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit. Jesus came in meekly and left the Holy Spirit. And Zerubbabel shall bring forth the capstone. We know from the Bible that Jesus Christ is the capstone. The hands of Zerubbabel have laid the foundation of this temple. His hand shall also finish it. We know Jesus Christ built the temple of God. The plumb line in the hand of Zerubbabel. This plumb line is mentioned in Amos and in other parts of the Bible. It's a measuring line of righteousness, and the righteousness of Jesus Christ is how it is measured. In fact, in Revelation, this measuring line gets mentioned in chapter 11. Revelation 11:1. Then I was given a reed like a measuring rod, and the angel stood, saying, Rise and measure the temple of God, the altar, and those who worship there. And guess what? This is the chapter that was about the two witnesses who also turn out to be two pillars of God. So the story of Zerubbabel has a double meaning of Jesus Christ, and this is how the pillar of Jachin leads us through Zerubbabel to Jesus Christ. And now let's see the overview of both pillars and their stories again. Jachin 1, a Simeonite who comes down to a foreign land and his descendants don't have a land of their own. Jachin 2, a Levite priest, and like the Simeonites, the Levite descendants also don't have a land of their own. And this Jachin is the 21st lot of succession of Aaron the high priest, which connects numerically to the story of Zerubbabel, who not only builds the temple of God, but brings forth the capstone, holds the plumb line, and is a signet ring signifying kingship. Pillar 2, Boaz redeems a woman by paying off a debt of land and marrying a non-Israelite woman in front of witnesses. And now the story of Jesus overlaid. Comes down from heaven where earth belongs to the first king Satan, and his followers don't have the inheritance of heaven yet. Jesus is the final high priest and promises to get us to our own promised land, heaven. From Zerubbabel to Jesus Christ is 21 generations, and Zerubbabel's story mirrors Jesus, with Jesus building the temple, being the capstone, has the plumb line to measure righteousness, and has been crowned king. And Jesus Christ redeems mankind by paying the price for us to inherit heaven, then marries the church called the bride of Christ through foreign people called Gentiles, and to top it off, the church is called a pillar in the book of Timothy.
Oh, that's kind of interesting how they repeat the story. Very cool.
Wow. When you analyze the context of the stories, then you can see what God is doing here.
I'd like to bring attention that the first pillar, Jachin, through Zerubbabel, symbolizes Jesus Christ, a male, while the second pillar, through the marriage of Boaz and Ruth, symbolizes the church, a female. That gendered symbolism is not an accident. Understanding the relationships and how the pillars fit into the overall story of the whole Bible will help you see the end and Jesus' marriage to the church, balancing out the pairing in the beginning of the first flawed marriage of Adam and Eve. We will continue to drive this point as we move along with these videos, and this becomes more clear. But for now, you can see the deeper meaning through the connections and the context of the stories and why the pillars of the first temple were called Jachin and Boaz. Please like, share, and subscribe.
But Jared, weren't you saying something about how Jeffrey Epstein, you said, had two pillars? Let me look that up. Epstein. Or you were saying something about it being Freemason. Epstein Temple. That is not the one I'm looking for. I don't see any pillars in front of Epstein's temple here. Or am I wrong, what you were saying before? I thought you said something about... Okay, let me look that up. Okay. So in Freemasonry, Boaz and Jachin are two pillars often depicted in lodge rooms and Masonic symbolism, representing the two main pillars of King Solomon's temple. They are central to Freemasonry's teachings and rituals, serving as a reminder of strength and stability and reflecting the importance of establishing a solid foundation. Well, that's weird though, because okay, you're saying it's inside the temple? Because I was telling Jared earlier today that there's actually a Freemason lodge that just went up for sale. That's quite old, an old brick building that I don't know if it'd bring bad juju to go and okay, so I've seen this picture before. These two pillars. Okay. Yeah. Talking about Logan from LVM sent a video of this talking about it being a psyop. Yeah, I've seen this picture a lot with the Freemasons. So what do Freemasons then believe? Is it like a combination of a bunch of things they like take from it? Or because obviously there's a ton of symbolism, but then there's like also the occult. I do like this kind of art though. That's like, I love this kind of art. That was always the stuff I really like gravitated towards when I was in art school, was these kind of drawings. I think they're amazing. Check my DMs.
Understand consciousness.
Is there a way to read?
Freemasonic symbolism is how to gain enlightenment. This symbol is called the Freemasonic Royal Arch, consisting of a left pillar, the masculine sun. This represents our physical actions, our left logical brain, and the right pillar with the moon, the feminine pillar. This represents the darkness. The moon is in the night, which represents what we cannot see, which is our internal world of thoughts, emotions, and consciousness. It represents the right brain also. In order to achieve enlightenment, you must rise above division, the black and white checkerboard, internal division, where your actions, left pillar, do not align with your internal guidance system, because emotions guide us through this life. They tell you what is right and what is wrong. When your consciousness is divided and not singular, you have internal contradiction. Your emotions are telling you to study, but your actions are scrolling on TikTok. That's the division, the internal chaos. This is when you are weak and your mind is useless, and you're being moved by the chess master. This is a chessboard, because the chess master has higher awareness, the elites. They understand how consciousness functions. So to unify the left pillar with the right, we must act with our physical body what our emotions are telling is right all the time. And this combines and builds a bridge from the left and the right, combining the left brain and the right brain, the internal world with the external world. And you gain light, higher understanding. The all-seeing eye is
like, okay, I'm fully willing to, like, okay, Freemason's bad and all that stuff, but it is interesting. I always like to find out like how people knew this kind of thought, or why they came up with the right and left thing. You know, obviously there isn't really like a full division in your brain between the left and right. It's kind of metaphoric, but I always wonder, like, this is when I was talking about earlier, like last week, when I was talking about the circumcision being like a, basically like a ritual to create like sociopaths, or like continue that, like that trauma throughout generations, because you're like you're subjecting a baby to like one of the most traumatic things you can, which is like really damaging most sensitive parts of a man, and then like doing a horrible ritual. So it's interesting that we didn't really have terms for a lot of like this horrible like mental conditions of like the social sciences that we have today, which are still only social science and not real like hard sciences. But this is stuff that's like only being more public to people now that we have mass communications. And I'm wondering how many times this history is repeated, and how long this information's been going. The other thing too is I was thinking about, while we're on the topic of like paganism and like mixing paganism with Christianity. One of the guys that I was listening to today was talking about how he didn't say it per se, but it kind of made me think about something. Is that okay? So like the Catholics converted a bunch of people, or certain Christian sects went and converted people. And what was interesting to me is to realize that when you go and take over these pagans, it's kind of like when Nietzsche says, like, look into the void and the void stares back, because it wasn't just these people converting these people from paganism. Paganism brought in its own things. So now in like a bunch of Christianity or different sects of Christianity, especially Catholics, there's a lot of pagan ritual that goes along with it. And it's kind of interesting how like you can't just like take over these people. Part of them comes in with them. What was the other thing I was talking about, Jared, today about, the Catholics? Something interesting too that I realized is like when you look at the Catholicism and their way of spreading Christianity through the Crusades and the Templars, not only did they go and spread international credit systems, but then they go and they spread through almost like a David prophet, through the use of the sword, which was kind of interesting to think about, like the real ties between Judaism and Catholicism.
An eye. Your physical eye requires light to perceive things in the world, but the single eye represents the mind, and the mind requires light, which is knowledge, to perceive the world correctly. And you can't understand yourself if you are left hemisphere dominated or right hemisphere dominated and stuck in this division. You can't understand consciousness when your perception of the world is in this chaotic state. Your soul guides you through emotion, and it's guiding you towards your life purpose and awakening. You need to align the action, the masculine, with the internal emotional guidance, and you sync the two, gaining higher awareness, which is what enlightenment is.
That's interesting. What was were you telling me to look something else to? Leads to worship when you climb their Jacob's ladder. Let me look up Jacob's ladder for Freemason. Okay.
Welcome.
I've seen a lot of these too. When I look at like a lot of the old drawings and paintings.
To From the Quarries. Tonight's video, Jacob's Ladder, is a short, anonymous piece that was first published in the Craftsman magazine in December 1897. I hope you enjoy it.
Good evening,
and welcome to tonight's presentation, From the Quarries, an archive of Masonic lore. And Jacob went out from Beersheba and went towards Haran. And he lighted upon a certain place, and tarried there all night, because the sun was set. And he took the stones of that place, and put them for his pillows, and lay down in that place to sleep. And he dreamed.
I can't fucking stand that kind of shit. I gotta find a different video, because the fucking, like, music and the sound shit in the background is annoying. What is this one? This one looks a little bit better.
Thank you for joining Wars of the Roses. And this is Jacob's Ladder from the Encyclopedia Freemasonry by Albert G. Mackey. Jacob's Ladder. The introduction of Jacob's Ladder into the symbolism of speculative masonry is to be traced to the vision of Jacob, which is thus substantially recorded in the 28th chapter of the book of Genesis. When Jacob, by the command of...
So when they say that he, because like I was kind of hearing something today about him being the bringer of light. Is that a false light, or like a light that is like enticing? Is that what it is?
Of his father Isaac was journeying toward Padanaram. While sleeping one night with the bare earth for his couch and a stone for his pillow, he beheld the vision of a ladder whose foot rested on the earth and whose top reached to heaven. Angels were continually ascending and descending upon it, and promised him the blessing of a numerous and happy posterity. When Jacob awoke, he was filled with pious gratitude and consecrated the spot as the house of God. This ladder, so remarkable in the history of the Jewish people, finds its analogue in all the ancient initiations. Whether this is to be attributed simply to a coincidence, a theory which but few scholars would be willing to accept, or to the fact that these analogues were all derived from a common fountain of symbolism, or whether, as suggested by Oliver, the origin of the symbol was lost among the practices of the pagan rites. While the symbol itself was retained, it is perhaps impossible authoritatively to determine. It is, however, certain that the ladder as a symbol of moral and intellectual progress existed almost universally in antiquity, presenting itself either as a succession of steps of gates, of degrees, or in some other modified form. The number of the steps varied, although the favorite one appears to have been 7, in reference apparently to the mystical character almost everywhere given to that number. Thus, in the Persian mysteries of Mithras, there was a ladder of 7 rounds, the passage through them being symbolical of the soul's approach to perfection. These rounds were called gates, and in allusion to them, the candidate was made to pass through 7 dark and winding caverns, which process was called the ascent of the ladder of perfection. Each of these caverns was the representative of a world or state of existence through which the soul was supposed to pass in its progress from the first world to the last, or the world of truth. Each round of the ladder was said to be of metal of increasing purity, and was dignified also with the name of its protecting planet. Some idea of the construction of this symbolic ladder may be obtained from the following table. In the Mysteries of Brahma, we find the same reference to the ladder of 7 steps. The names of these were not different, and there was the same allusion to the symbol of the universe. The 7 steps were emblematical of the 7 worlds which constituted the Indian universe. The lowest was the earth, the second, the world of pre-existence, the third, heaven, the fourth, the middle world or intermediate region between the lower and upper worlds, the fifth, the world of births in which souls are again born, the sixth, the mansion of the blessed, and the 7th or topmost round, the sphere of truth and the abode of Brahma. Dr. Oliver thinks that in the Scandinavian mysteries, the tree Yggdrasil was the representative of the mystical ladder. But although the ascent of the tree, like the ascent of the ladder, was a change from a lower to a higher sphere from time to eternity and from death to life, yet the unimaginative genius of the North seems to have shorn the symbolism of many of its more salient features. Among the Kabbalists, the ladder...
One thing that's interesting too, when you start talking about like Scandinavian, and the pine tree, Scandinavians, particularly like well, I guess most of them aren't really. Pine trees are where the Amanita muscaria, which is like that mushroom that looks like the Mario mushroom. It's a hallucinogenic mushroom that they all used. That's kind of what led to like the berserkers and a lot of like the early tripping. They would put it in like milk also to keep flies away, like fly agaric is what they call it also. And it's got I forgot what the actual like active compound is in it, but it's interesting, you know, that maybe they were using that at that like pagan rituals, using Amanita muscaria to go and ascend. Yeah, they would go and they would drink the piss of the reindeer because like the active, I think it was like an alkaloid, doesn't fully process through. So like you can like re-drink the urine. I don't think that's what Rube is doing to go and get enlightened though.
It was represented by the 10 Sephiroths, which, commencing from the bottom, were the kingdom, foundation, splendor, firmness, beauty, justice, mercy, intelligence, wisdom, and the crown, by which we arrive at the Ein Sof, or the infinite. In the higher masonry, we find the ladder of Kadosh, which consists of 7 steps, thus commencing from the bottom: justice, equity, kindness, good faith, labor, patience, and intelligence. The arrangement of these steps, for which we are indebted to modern ritualism, does not seem to be perfect, but yet the idea of intellectual progress to perfection is carried out by making the topmost round represent wisdom or understanding. The Masonic ladder, which is presented in the symbolism of the first degree, ought really to consist of 7 steps, which thus ascend: temperance, fortitude, prudence, justice, faith, hope, and charity. But the earliest examples of it present it only with 3, referring to the 3 theological virtues, whence it is called the theological ladder. It seems therefore to have been settled by general usage that the Masonic ladder has but 3 steps. As a symbol of progress, Jacob's ladder was early...
Why, if, I mean, I'm not anywhere near saying the Freemasons are any good or anything, but obviously, where does it go bad? Because those all seem like good characteristics. So I'm just wondering, I mean, aside from, let's say you're a Christian and you fully accept Christ, and so this is heresy and blasphemy, possibly, but what studying this turns you into what most people think of as like the divine evil of Freemasonry?
Recognized. Picus of Mirandola, who wrote in the 16th century in his oration De Hominis Dignitate, says that Jacob's ladder is a symbol of the progressive scale of intellectual communication betwixt earth and heaven, and upon the ladder, as it were...
I can see, so you're saying the intent. I can see, let's say, someone using this from up top to go and use it, but what about the people at the bottom? You're saying they put themselves above the Almighty. Okay.
Step by step, man is permitted with the angels to ascend and descend until the mind finds blissful and...
Okay, so now I see what you're saying, and that's kind of what he's kind of getting at in this right here. It's actually very like Talmudic, or kind of what like a lot of like Judaism and all those practices kind of relate to that. So I can see where this stems from then with that point.
complete repose in the bosom of divinity. The highest step he defines to be theology, or the study and contemplation of the deity in his own abstract and exalted nature. Other interpretations have, however, been given to it. The Jewish writers differ very much in their expositions of it. Thus,
oh, okay, so there he goes. He starts talking about the Jewish connections to this, because that's kind of what, at least what like my interpretation of Israel and struggling with God is basically trying to elevate yourself to that position.
A writer of one of the midrashes or commentaries, finding that the Hebrew words for ladder and Sinai have each the same numerical value of letters, expounds the ladder as typifying the giving of the law on that mount.
I thought, doesn't Sinai mean mountain? Okay, am I right? Because isn't it like I just recently learned that like Mount Sinai is like an oxymoron because it just means mountain. Am I right, Jared?
Aben Ezra thought that it was a symbol of the human mind and that the angels represented the sublime meditations of man. Maimonides supposed the ladder to symbolize nature in its operations, and citing the authority of a midrash which gives to it
redundant, I mean,
4 steps, says that they represent the 4 elements. The 2 heavier, earth and water, descending by their specific gravity, and the 2 lighter, fire and air, ascending from the same cause. Abarbanel, assuming the Talmudic theory that Luz, where Jacob slept, was Mount Moriah, supposes that the ladder, resting on the spot which afterward became the Holy of Holies, was a prophetic symbol of the building of the temple. And lastly, Raphael interprets the ladder and the ascent and the descent of the angels as the prayers of man and the answering inspiration of God. Flood, the Hermetic philosopher, in his Philosophia Mosaica, 1638, calls the ladder the symbol of the triple world, moral, physical, and intellectual. And Nicolai says that the ladder with 3 steps was, among the Rosicrucian Freemasons in the 17th century, a symbol of the knowledge of nature. Finally, Krauss says in his Drei Ältesten Kunsturkunden, 2, 481, that a brother Keher of Edinburgh, whom he describes as a skillful and truthful mason, had in 1802 assured the members of a lodge at Altenburg that originally only one Scottish degree existed, whose object was the restoration of James II. To the throne of England and that of that restoration, Jacob's ladder had been adopted by them as a symbol. Of this fact, he further said that an authentic narrative was contained in the archives of the Grand Lodge of Scotland. Notwithstanding Laurie's silence on the subject, Krauss is inclined to believe the story, nor is it in all its parts altogether without probability. It is more than likely that the Chevalier Ramsay, who was a warm adherent of the Stuarts, transferred the symbol of the mystical ladder from the Mithraic mysteries, with which he was very familiar, into his Scottish degrees, and that thus it became a part of the symbolism of the Kadosh system. In some of the political lodges instituted under the influence of the Stuarts to assist in the restoration of their house, the philosophical interpretation of the symbol may have been perverted to a political meaning, and to these lodges it is to be supposed that Keir alluded. But that the Grand Lodge of Scotland had made any official recognition of the fact is not to be believed. Laurie's silence seems to be concluded.
Is there any connection to the old tea houses and Freemason lodges, or are those separate things? Or tea coffee houses? Because wasn't it that they used to go and meet like the higher class, and it was like a men's thing to go and meet in coffee houses?
Inclusive. In the ancient craft degrees of the York Rite, Jacob's ladder was not an original symbol. It is said to have been introduced by...
Oh, it's not mountain. I thought there was something... Maybe it's not Sinai.
Dunkerley when he reformed the lectures.
Okay.
This is confirmed by the fact that it is not mentioned in any of the early rituals of the last century, nor even by Hutchinson, who had an excellent opportunity of doing so in his lecture on the nature of the lodge, where he speaks of the covering of the lodge, but says nothing of the means of reaching it, which he would have done had he been acquainted with the ladder as a symbol. Its first appearance is in a tracing board on which the date of 1776 is inscribed, which very well agrees with the date of Dunkley's improvements. In this tracing board, the ladder has but 3 rounds, a change from the old 7-stepped ladder of the mysteries, which, however, Preston corrected when he described it as having many rounds, but 3 principal ones.
I'm sorry, I thought he said that before it started as 3 steps and then became 7 steps.
Dunkley, I think, was indebted for this symbol to Ramsay, from whom he liberally borrowed on several other occasions, taking from him his royal arch and learning from him to eliminate the master's word from the 3rd degree, where it had been placed by his predecessors. As to the modern Masonic symbolism of the ladder, it is, as I have already said, a symbol of progress such as it is in all the old initiations. Its 3 principal rounds, representing faith, hope, and charity, present us with the means of advancing from earth to heaven, from death to life, from the mortal to immortality. Hence its foot is placed on the ground floor of the lodge, which is typical of the world, and its top rests on the covering of the lodge, which is symbolic of heaven. In the Prestonian lecture, which was elaborated out of Dunkley's system, the ladder is said to rest on the Holy Bible and to reach to the heavens. The symbolism is thus explained: by the doctrines contained in the Holy Bible, we are taught to believe in the divine dispensation of providence, which belief strengthens our faith and enables us to ascend the first step. That faith naturally creates in us a hope of becoming partakers of some of the blessed promises therein recorded, which hope enables us to ascend the second step. But the third and last being charity comprehends the whole, and he who is possessed of this virtue in its ample sense is said to have arrived at the summit of his profession, or more metaphorically, into an ethereal mansion veiled from the mortal eye by the starry firmament. In the modern lectures, the language is materially changed, but...
Thank you for bringing that up, Jared, about immortality. There's one thought that I've been thinking about a lot is, I don't know if you guys have ever read Beowulf in high school, and basically the theme of that is that your fame is your immortality, and that basically when is if you live like a really like big life, you become immortal through your fame as long as your name is carried on. And that's pretty like a pretty pagan ideal, and it kind of, there's a lot of what you call them, similarities to the story of Beowulf, to the story of Jesus Christ. And it's like one of the oldest English known, what is it, mythos or lore.
The idea and the symbolism are retained unaltered. The delineation of the ladder with 3 steps only on the tracing board of 1776, which is a small one, may be attributed to notions of convenience.
Oh, and there's one other thing too. I was to interrupt is with I've been thinking about with like the old gods of like the Greek gods and the Roman gods. For some reason, I just kind of started thinking about like them actually not being like the gods that we have today, and why they were false gods back then is because I wonder if they were just oligarchs. So back then, like to be that powerful, it was godly to these people. And even like crazier to think about, like when you look at these old Egyptian temples, and then you start looking at the Baghdad Battery, if that's really a true artifact. Like, could you imagine you being a human and the perception of you would be godly if you had the control of electricity or controlling these things? And, you know, like, let's say, what's her name? Mars. Her name is in the Greek gods. what's her name, the god of war, like, let's say, could just be some really horrid, bad temperament woman like Hillary Clinton, who's just basically a warmonger. And then just all of these people are really not like, all of these gods are more of just attributes to these powerful oligarchs and kings at that time. And they didn't really have a knowledge. Athena, okay. And they didn't really have a way to describe these people. Shiva is Hindu.
But the fact that Dunkley derived his symbol from Ram.
Although it is interesting when you look at the similarities in like the Bhagavad Gita to Christianity, and it kind of seems like there's an interesting connection to when Jesus goes off and learns, and then I think the 3 wise men that visit him are all from the East, which would be probably from that time period, Hindu thinkers. So I don't know. I try not to be like too blasphemous, but I just kind of, it's very interesting to me because obviously like the whole Christian message is that a salvation for everyone. So it would apply, like, that's why they would try to convert people, you know, in the remote parts of South America. So I would assume that this, like, that the story of Jesus would have to be able to be like understood and accepted by other cultures, or this was like a universal idea that he was basically everywhere and traveling throughout different cultures, and some people were maybe less civilized and didn't get it. But it's very interesting to think about like what was going on in that period of time when we don't know where he was.
Ramsey, that Ramsey's ladder had 7 steps, being the same as the...
And I'm sorry to interrupt too, like if you look at not Shiva, but Kali, she's very much like Lilith, the way that she cuts off, is it Shiva's head? She cuts off Shiva's head and steps on it. And then you have all of these like different mantras. I don't know. I don't want to get too far into that and get thrown off from this.
Kadosh symbol, that in all the old initiations, the number 7 was preserved. And lastly, that Preston describes it as having many rounds or staves, which point out as many moral virtues, but 3 principal ones, namely faith, hope, and charity, irresistibly lead us to the conclusion that the Masonic ladder should properly have 7 steps, which represent the 4 cardinal and the 3 theological virtues. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment.
Kind of digging
and if you
this,
can,
actually.
please consider donating to Wars of the Roses. Links to PayPal and Patreon.
I kind of want to see more of this. Albert G. Mackey. This is like a cultism versus the occult arts. Slav said he sent me something. Well, it doesn't look like it's Freemason. All right, what is this?
To know, can you really bake 6 million pizzas in 5 years?
All right, Slav. All right. Okay, this is where we're going now.
Doubt it. Erica, take it away.
Chloe and Michael, good morning. To put that into perspective, that's over 3,000 pizzas a day, every single day. The question isn't just can they do it, but how?
We can't do it. It's impossible. How dare you even ask me to make 6 million pizzas? We don't even have a chimney.
Well, they really got their work cut out for them.
If I were them, I would just lie and say they did it.
Right. Let's go live to the manager.
Possible. There's only 505,000 pizzas in this whole country. You expect us to bake 6 million? No way. We're live in the kitchen, watching this crew frantically load pizzas into the ovens. This isn't possible.
They won't hit 6 million.
And even if they could, the Russian spot down the street did 62 million from 1917 to 1987.
We hear you're writing a diary about the pizzas. How's that going?
Oh, he might have been trying to forge that.
Right? I say just make it mandatory in every school and people will think it was real.
I heard they have enough red sauce to make like 271,000.
Now that.
My question is, how are they supposed to retrieve the pizzas from the ovens? That makes sense. There's no ventilation.
How do they get their pizza? How do they get their pizzas out?
Just a weird pizza cost.
The only problem with this restaurant is they don't have a chimney, so it makes going into the kitchen and retrieving the pizzas a difficult task.
In other news, if you haven't followed Jake GTV yet, you might be a total loser. Certainly not based. Most likely retarded.
You got me with that one. Okay. This motherfucker. What was it you were saying to look up? The Albert Pike, if possible, or Manly P. Hall? I've heard of Albert Pike. I almost heard Albert. Whoopsie. I'll send it to you in a second. Manly P. Hall. Let's look up that. I'll show you my Manly P. Hall. Manly P. Hall. This is like a fucking hour-long video right here. Hour-long video. Jesus, this is a big thing, dude. Oh, we got a 10-hour video. Jesus, this is a lot of information about whatever this is. God damn. All right. What do we got? There's a 14-minute video. Okay, this is in 1928.
Plato said that a country is best ruled when the best persons rule. The human being is best governed when the best part of himself leads. Now, some think the mind is the best part, others the emotions, some the physical body itself with its resources. But all of these finally come under the leadership of that which dwells within the body, within the emotions, behind the mind. What is this basis of reality? How are we going to reach it? How are we going to challenge it to come out of its strange aloofness so that it can become available to the person? One thing we find out immediately is that this search has to be personal. There is no possibility of communicating this reality in ways necessary to solve the problem of the individual, except that it be given to the individual with his particular problem. So we have to try to find out how to reach the opening of the inner light so that something superior to mind can become the ruler of mind and use the mind, the emotions, and the body as an instrument for the fulfillment of a sacred purpose. This we have to try to discover in one way or another. In ancient times, there were various doctrines that were developed very largely for the purpose of bringing the individual into contact with his own higher nature. That there were teachings that taught him to rise above even the highest aspects of his own mind into an immediate and intimate experience of reality. One of the first things that we are told in ancient scriptures is the simple line, "Be still and know that I am God."
Just as a side thought, how did they end up getting to this version of the angels? Isn't that like a Greek pagan abstraction of like what angels were really described as in the Bible? I don't remember, at least when I like read all like the Greek mythology books, I don't remember angels mentioned in it, but like it seems like the Greeks had a lot of statues of angels which were not anything like the angels we know of.
Now, I think perhaps this is one of the most important statements in connection with man's religious life. The problem of trying to be still. Now, when we think of still, if we are bound to material things, we will simply say that the individual does nothing. That is not the answer. That is not what is intended. Intended only to become part of worship. When the individual seeks the ordinary, he can read a school book or attend a class. When he seeks to know the mystery of his own inner self, he cannot storm the gates of heaven. If he tries to get into the sheepfold, which was the old name for religion, by any way except the proper gate, he is then a thief and a robber. Therefore, the ethics, the morality, the integrities involved have to be kept in mind at all times. To be still to the mystic.
So this is something that also the guy I was listening to, by the way, let me, I'll pull him up later. But the guy that I've been, unless this is, no, that's not him. Okay. But the one thing that the guy that I've been listening to kind of describes is that, like, you can't achieve, what was it? The, you can't achieve through acts. You have to achieve through faith. So you can't really, like, he's kind of right here, is that, like, trying to perform acts to get closer to God is the incorrect way.
A means to be free from the involvements of mind and emotion, and free also from various physical symptomologies that may arise, in order that he will permit that which is truly the overself to be heard. The still voice, the small voice, comes to the individual who stops talking long enough to hear it. And that is very rare, even in religion. The problem always is that we are trying desperately to decide for ourselves on mental, emotional, and physical levels those problems and decisions which can come only from something superior to what we now use. We have to some way break into that mysterious realm that has been called intuition or the extrasensory band. To be still now, for us, in this particular world in which we now live, it seems to me, is to cease doing that which is not necessary, not right, and not good. The individual must choose sometime to clearly face the fact.
Where did they get that picture of me? That looks exactly like me. It's even the same shirt. The headphones, that's literally me right now. I've got my phone right here.
That he cannot be right if he continues to act wrong. That there is a relationship between conduct and consciousness. There is a relationship between our material personality and that mysterious locked over self which we are seeking to understand. Therefore, it is very necessary to be still in the sense of recovering from all of those intemperances of attitudes by means of which the normal growth of the consciousness is delayed or disposed of entirely. Therefore, if we want to really understand this, we have to begin the process of ironing out ourselves, to get rid of those things which interfere with the natural mistakes of life. I mentioned that one day to a man who came to see me, that if he stopped all these various attitudes that he had, he'd be better off. And he seemed quite unhappy and a little indignant. Well, he said, if I stop thinking about all these mistakes, I'll have nothing at all to think about. Well, that probably is true. But it's possible to imagine that there might be some things to think about that are not mistakes, if we give any ground for such thinking.
You know, I've said it before. I really, and I'm actually wearing his shirt. It's just the graphic faded off. It's a Jesse Lee Peterson shirt. And I like to think about, like, how you could simplify the Bible and make it, like, accessible to everyone. And one of his kind of concepts is that, like, the Bible is in your heart. And the other thing that he talks about is being, like, still, or, like, he has, like, a meditation. I don't know that it's a meditation, but, like, a a practice that he makes you do where like you basically like clear all your thoughts and just don't worry about like, just realize that these are just thoughts and that they're coming through, and that just like basically all you can do is be responsible for yourself and take responsibility regardless of what happens to you, no matter how bad. This kind of ties into that.
If we are willing to gradually iron out the impulses and intemperances with which we have burdened ourselves for thousands of years and brought with us in any sequencing of rebirth that happens to us. Supposing we say that the individual who wants to get better is trying to grow because the present condition has become intolerable. The person is not satisfied as he is. He is not satisfied in what he has been, but he does not know how to carry himself into the future without dragging this rubble with him. His tomorrow is just another day in which to worry about the problems of yesterday. This whole problem of the continuity of a compound attitude has to be broken up in some way. The person has to be able to be quiet without unhappy thoughts coming. He must be able to be relaxed and think without thinking destructively, critically, or in some way detrimental of all concerned. And if his thinking is so bad he can't stand it, he has got to learn to get over the instinct to take a drink or something and forget himself. The individual trying to forget himself is really telling us he's trying to forget a personality that is impossible. And there's no way of getting away with it except by outgrowing it. Now, some have undoubtedly have been able to drink themselves to death, and hope that by this means that they have accomplished everything that was necessary. While these people belong and believe in the kind of life that we are generally living, they will feel they have got release. But to the deeper thinker, they have solved nothing and have escaped nothing. So that the problem becomes again, cure it now rather than face it later. So in the problem of getting started on this inner search, we have to try to find out that nature, in its own way, our natural compound, is essentially cooperative. The body, with all its natural functions, is really a pretty good creature, considering everything. It has laws and rules which, if we keep them, it will keep us as long as possible. It also has rules that we cannot break. And the moment we begin to reject our responsibility to the body, we're in trouble. We get so interested in what we're doing mentally and emotionally that we wreck the body. And because we have wrecked the body in accomplishing a large personal fortune, we then...
It's kind of something that I keep in mind as being like the head of my household, is basically like everyone is looking up to you to be there, and you cannot, if you're going to be a good father or husband, you can't just let these thoughts, like, even if you are burdened, you can't let that filter down into the people that are under you, because they're depending on you to show a strength. And if you start going and submitting to this kind of stuff, then it really brings weakness onto the rest of the world.
Feel that the wreckage was worthwhile, but it isn't. Actually, therefore, the first laws that man faces are obvious to himself. He faces them in his daily living, but he has learned to carefully ignore the findings. He also has developed a new escape which our ancestors really didn't have, namely that if he couldn't get out of the trouble himself, he could hire someone else to get out of it for him. But it's just as difficult to have another person solve your problems as to have another person eat your food and you be nourished by it. You can't do these things. So we have now the complex situation of people who want to grow, but have already stunted their own growth badly. They want to be better, but they do not know what to do with the mistakes that have accumulated. I think the old mystics had the perfect answer for it. They simply said, "Be quiet and know that I am God." Now, this wasn't a theological type of definition. It is a definition based upon the concept that when we cease to build our own mistakes, when we cease to fashion a giant monster out of our own intemperances.
I think about this sometimes too with like building personal computers or the way that like cars are like a body. It's kind of an interesting way that like we're studying ourselves through building these tools to basically mimic our abilities. Because what he's kind of talking about, and I had this conversation recently with somebody, was my idea of how trauma works and what like keeps people from ascending, particularly if they're like highly capable people, is having their RAM space occupied by a bunch of processes that have been going on for a long time, and they can't reset it, they can't get rid of it, and because it's been going on so long, it kind of gets forgotten in the bottom of like your list of running functions, and it just kind of that's why people can't really solve the problem, because they've kind of just it's like compartmentalized into like a little like buffering area. And so until you kind of are able to go and say, look at your like, you open up your task menu, or what's the function when you do alt control delete, and it pulls up that thing of your running tasks right now. Unless you look at it, you don't see how much space is being occupied in your RAM and how much processor speed. So a lot of people are just have these background running tasks that they never solve because they don't even know that it's there.
And relax. All of these evil things simply fade away for lack of nutrition, but they will not fade as long as one drop of nutriment is available to them. As long as we continue to have unhappy attitudes, we are not going to solve the mystery of our own inner consciousness. Actually, the way of life physically that gives us the maximum probability for years is the same type of discipline as that which is necessary to the mind and the emotions so that they will fulfill their duties as perfectly as possible. When the emotions are quieted down to simple, gentle, real values, the emotional...
My conception of schizophrenia is much like what I was just talking about with the active like RAM processes in the back. And so they're just reliving the different characters that are in that thing. That's why it's like you could be right in front of them, but you're hosting a different like NPC in front of them so that they're trying to process it, and you being right there is kind of helping them work through it. And you're basically embodying that person in their mind or that figure. And so that's why they'll like act out at you and you have no idea what they're seeing. Like I've met actual like I've met real schizophrenics, people that were seeing things in front of me that were not there, obviously. Like she really freaked a lot of people out in this one support group that we were in, where she was basically claiming that there was a portal right in front of us in the ground. And it's they're not there. Like you're saying, looking into their eyes is so sad, is because they're not there. They're in a different time. And so it's nothing you can do, unfortunately. One of the worst things I've ever seen, I hate even talking about it, is an old World War II vet that I knew from a group, and he was really friendly, and man, this is fucking gonna bum me out, but I was talking to him, and then he went in and did shock therapy, because they still do shock therapy. And man, looking at somebody afterwards that just came out of shock therapy, like that movie, that book, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, is really what that whole psych facility is. I knew a woman who was the head of addiction studies and stuff at a fucking, like, her main thing that she studied was alcoholism at a very big health facility at a very large college university. And the irony was that she was a severe alcoholic. A lot of the times, like, it really, like, when you're trying to find these things and like study them, it's like you're trying to look at yourself, and it's really sad. Like, that's why I don't know, I like looking at all these different types of people and trying to figure them out. I like to keep myself diverse in my studies, and I don't like to go and get too dark into one particular thing, because like I feel like that'll like start bringing up like my own like whatever problems or something, or create problems that I didn't have, you know.
Nature is protected. We have no likelihood of trouble with some of the internal organs of the endocrine system, which have particular control over our emotional content. We will not kill ourselves by false feelings any more than we will kill ourselves with bad food. When we go up again to the third one, we have the mind. If the mind is used as it was intended to be used, and that is for the common good, for the advancement of everything that is real and valuable in life. If the mind could be released from the terrific pressure of self-interest, if it could get away from all its scheming on how to defeat a brother, and rather simply, quietly work out how to help him, all things would be much better in the mental world. There would be much less mental breakdown, and we would not be suffering from too many cases of senility. It is the misuse of the mind that gradually changes life into a dismal dwelling for the individual. So in each of these levels, there is a natural law. Each of these creatures has its rights and privileges. Each level of ourselves has its inalienable needs and corrections. They're all here.
There's also, you know, I do it to myself because a lot of times, like, obviously we're watching these streams and we go to some pretty dark places, and it's also something that I do like to train myself into. I feel like, you know, aside from learning like actual skills to be able to repair things and fix things or know, you know, the sciences, the other thing is that I feel like it's necessary that I have to, if I'm going to be a good leader, especially if I want to be able to survive any kind of adversity or help guide my own family, I have to plunge myself into the darkest depths that I can. When I used to do, like, I used to be really good at isolating strains of psilocybin mushrooms, and that I got really, really good at it, and I made really potent stuff, and I pretty much almost Ted Kaczynski'd myself as far as like just bashing my brain in with psilocybin and just pushing myself further and further and trying to like take higher levels and seeing how well I could maintain. And then I just kind of, it's like I got all I got out of it. Like I didn't want to do it anymore. And it's I've only done acid once, like true acid, and I don't know if I got a lot out of it, but what it did for me is I don't have the same, like a lot of people have fear, and I can go into like certain really bad situations and act calm and not have fear, which it can be a bad thing also, but it like, I think it's helped me, especially when I was like in around a rougher crowd, kind of helped me survive being around like bad circumstances. And I feel like I'll at least be able to have something to draw on to help the rest of the world kind of know that they can move through like hard things. I think I've always kind of been like that though, because like when I was an athlete, like I was a swimmer, that was one of the main sports I did. And I always did long distance. It wasn't about going fast. It was just trying to like, when you do a distance sport like that, you have to basically keep your mind clear and just know that your body's going to keep going and you can keep going. And that's a whole different thing than trying to sprint.
If we want to use them. Now, a lot of people have been perfectly willing to support religions industriously. They have been willing to make pilgrimage. They have been willing to do all kinds of penances to remove some guilt mechanisms within themselves. And at the same time, even though they live...
It would be 500 is a yard. Like the 500 yard is different because like, so there's 400 meter and then there's the equivalent is 500 yard. I did in swimming for 200 yard. I did at States I did a 150. I could have done better than that, but I took a 2-year break and then came back into it my senior year. So I was hoofing it pretty good. My 500 was somewhere probably around like 450 or something like that. My mile time, I think my mile, I could do miles around like, I don't know, is that 14, 15 minutes? I think was my mile time.
A pretty fair life. This great experience of projection in...
I also used to do bike like long biking down A1A. I'd ride my bike from Jacksonville Beach to St. Augustine every day or every other day, and that was like 40 miles. And trying to do like just maintaining a pace for 40 miles on a bicycle is really difficult.
Into something higher has not occurred to them. And largely it's a result of not being able to quiet the separate levels of our consciousness on their own levels and then quiet the relationships of them to each other. In other words, if the mind and emotions are locked in conflict, they're in trouble. Wherever there is conflict, there is a kind of destruction. There is a false motion. Wherever there is an obstruction, there is a decay of values, a disintegration, an infection, in which something becomes sick. All selfishness is sickness, no matter what you want to call it. All jealousy is sickness. These things are just exactly as serious as sicknesses as are the ordinary physical ailments, which we may or may not be able to cure.
Yeah, that's something also I think about also is like when someone has a problem in me, I try to think about like, what do I represent to that person? Because sometimes it just doesn't make sense why you have like such a reoccurring issue with a person and you realize, oh, this isn't about me. This isn't about you. I mean, this is more about you and something that you experienced.
This problem, therefore, is to get rid of the sickness arising from the misuse of powers, faculties, and principles within ourselves. Unless we're able to do this, we're going to stay right in trouble just the way we are. But the worst part of it is, we may be a good church member while we're in this problem. It has never occurred to us that religion demanded anything more of us than allegiance. It was...
This is why I don't like going to church, is because it's just inevitable that it will be corrupted. I like being in a small group, but even then, I just like being able to hear, kind of be able to jump from different churches in the sense that it's like a different person talking and their thoughts about what they're reading. That way I'm never tied to anything that will like skew my thinking permanently, and I don't get like drawn into one person's thoughts and how certain things should be. That's why I'm not too fond again of Catholicism. I don't like the interpretation, like the above all interpretation and speaking to God for me. I just don't find that to be correct.
It was like a parent who demanded that the child obey, but did not necessarily contribute to any enlightenment in the purposes of obedience. the religious association which washes away sins with baptismal water has not gotten to the point where it realizes, or where people realize, that they have got to wash their own sins away all too often with their own tears. So there is time to get at some of these values directly. If the person wants to be born again in the theological sense of the word, it isn't that he simply accepts a religion. To be born again means to not make the same mistakes again. It means to clear the slate. A new birth means to start out with a fresh, clean, honest mind, without carrying anything from the past. Everything that is detrimental must be left aside. Now, out of this, there's something more, though, than just keeping the moralities straight. It is part of this business of being quiet. Every agitation, every intensity of negative attitude is dangerous to the inner life of the person.
Oh, that was a pretty good video. Most churches have steeples, so I stay away. Pretty sure he tells us not to worship him in the presence of Ashtaroth. I'm retarded. Picking up my first Bible 5 years ago. You're not alone, dude. I didn't. Let's see. I've been with my wife. Actually, today is our anniversary. We already did our anniversary stuff, but today's our 5-year of just being together, not our marriage. And then it was 2 or 3 years before I met her that I started actually like converted to Christianity. So I gotta go and finish up this video. Yeah, this video's done. Gonna go and hang out with my babies and wish them a good night and tuck them in. Appreciate you guys watching this. This is kind of cool. We went all over the place. We went to a lot of different places in this stream. Appreciate it if you would hit the like button. Seems to be working, getting more people interested, and kind of everybody here talking together, kind of give good suggestions. I like that. So I think that's pretty much it. And you guys have a good night. Thank you for being here. And hopefully we'll reunite again soon. Peace.